I love Sorin's deck. This is probably one of the best decks that you can play, to be completely honest. I have these guys removed because they are not vampires. He can't block and is unblockable. I would rather have Coag Vampire out 100 times over this guy. 2-1 lifelink. I feel like we have a lot of 2-drops. A lot of 2-drops. I mean, look at that. That is a ton. And I just feel like they don't fit in. Once again, we're not going to discuss that. If you wanted to see it, go back to the video on Sarkin's deck. Or the part on Sarkin's deck. It was the last one I just reviewed. So, these guys are good. They're a 2/2 flyer for 2. But you have to hit them first. And with me taking out the these Tormented Souls, I feel like they're not going to be played on turn 2 as a 2/1 or as a 2/2. But I have one left in the deck just in case, you know, I do get the Coag Vampire, swing 1, and then boom. Or I draw him late game, because as long as he's on my opening hand and I drop him for 2 mana, it's fine. This guy's just a 3/2 vampire for 3. I'd rather see him be like a 3/3 for 3. But it's a bit weak. He doesn't really have abilities. There's nothing in your deck that makes tokens. Don't play him. I watched someone almost lose to me playing Sarkin's deck. And the only reason he beat me is because all I drew was lands. I had 4 cards that weren't lands out of the first 12 cards. And almost lost to me because of this card. He attacked into my Tephriderm Elemental thing. The thing that when he deals damage, deals it back. And sacked a whole bunch of creatures to kill him. And ended up killing his own creature too. And had like 2 creatures on the board. And almost lost the game because of it. If he wouldn't have top decked the land, he would have lost the game. To bring back a Bloodghast. That's just kind of... You don't play enough vampires for him to be relevant. And you don't have a way to get out tokens. So there's really no point to play him. You don't want to be sacking your other good creatures. You do not want to be discarding cards to make him bigger. He's a 4/4 for 6 mana. That says pay 2, discard a card, make him bigger. I mean, he's okay late game when you're holding like 7 lands. But really, I would rather have something else. And this is just not good. I mean, it's a good... Oh, I can win this turn because your life total is going to become as low as mine. But you have to be losing for this to be a good card. If you're not, it's just a wasted card in your hand. And I mean, if you guys are at close life totals too, it doesn't help you. And it costs 7 mana. But let me go ahead and go through here. He's great. He's a great 1-drop because he can be bigger later. The later the game goes, the bigger he gets. Because each time you multi-kick him, he gets a +1/+1 counter. Blades the Bloodsheath, you're in a vampire deck. If you're not playing Blades the Bloodsheath, there's a problem. This is a great card for the fact that it's basically a kill card. If you want to sack one of your smaller vampires, that makes this guy here a 4/1. A 4/1. That's going to kill a lot of creatures in this format. Obviously a removal spell. This just gets better the later the game goes in most situations. Urge to Feed, removal. He's a 4/2 for 3 mana most of the time. This guy lets you take control of creatures. Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink. He's removal, life gain, and flying damage. Flying First Strike, haste. That in and of itself for 4 mana is worth it. Flying First Strike, haste. Hell, 4 mana for a First Strike haste creature is worth it. That's a 3/2. But this one has, when it deals combat damage to a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So immediately, as soon as he hits, he's a 4/3. So the first creature he blocks, or first creature that blocks him, he is now a 4/3. This is a good way to keep your life up, because whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you may gain 3 life. So you gain the 3 life, and it's good for you. Nocturnus, as long as the top card of your library is black. Lands are not black. Lands are colorless. Vampire Nocturnus and other vampires you control get +2/+1 and have flying. And the only thing that's downside about this is you have to play with the top card of your library revealed, so your opponent knows every card you're playing. But most of the time, if you play him, you're probably, and he stays out there for a few turns, you're probably winning the game. These guys, Edward and Bella here. Bloodthirst 2, lifelink. 4 mana, as long as you can hit someone, these guys are great. They give you lifelink, and they're 4/4s for 4 mana. That's awesome. Drana is obviously removal. Target creature gets -X or -0/-X until end of turn, which can kill a creature. And Drana gets +X/+0 until end of turn. That is great. Singer Vampire, he's so-so, but it also says you can't really swing into him, or he's going to get bigger. So the more you swing into him, the bigger he gets. These are obviously just removal spells that are good in the deck because you put some counters on your vampires, and this lets them get bigger. These should be used when you have counters, or in situations where you absolutely need to. Corrupt. Corrupt can be done to a player. Keep that in mind. That's why this card's in here, is you can get your opponent down. You're playing mono black. This is 6 mana. You're dealing 6 to gain 6. Paying 6 to deal 6 and gain 6. That's a 12-point life swing. That's huge. That is a ton of life there. And if you have any more, if you draw it later than that, you have 10 out, you're paying 6 to do a 20-point life swing. They lose 10, you gain 10. And this guy is just a good way to get out a lot of chump blockers, a lot of tokens. And I know I said we don't have token generation. Look at what he costs to generate tokens. Enters the battlefield, put 2 1/1 black bat creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. 5, sack a bat, put 2 out. So you have to pay 5 mana to put out 2 black, or to put out 1 more black bat token. That just does not help you very much. But I mean, it can be good in scenarios, and he also has regenerate, which is good. I mean, if that's nothing else, the bats regenerate him. All right, so let's go ahead and back out of that, and we'll take a look at Tezzeret's deck.